Welcome, Linda Good McGillis, on the second time coming on the Jill Butler Experience. I'm so excited, and I know everyone on the planet is excited for your next conversation with me. So I'm
Well,
just
thank
gonna
you,
pass
everyone.
it over to you.
Thank you, everyone. Happy equinox, or I guess eclipse. I guess I should say equinox. That's the fourth time I've said equinox
Oh my gosh, we must be
today.
revisiting that, definitely.
Well, in equinox, well, the energies are going to last for 3 to 6 months, so they're being enhanced again through the solar and lunar eclipse. So again, you know, we got a myriad of a whole lot of light energy coming in and it's beautiful, but at the same time it's testing. I'm not sure what other word to use other than it's testing. You know, it tests your patience, it tests your tolerance. You know, it tests how grounded you are, it tests how aware you are. It's testing. And
Mm.
so, you know, you got the great mirror closing in even more. You know, that straitjacket tightening, squeezing, all that no longer serves out, you know. And you see the chaos playing out in the world and all the narratives and everything else. And for those of us that have any kind of awareness, that's where you just have to keep taking yourself back to this has to play out here, because this is the manifestation of intention and motivation and connection to narratives and stories for thousands of years to 5 minutes, you know. And there's a lot of new information that's coming in, a lot of light that's coming in, and the more light information that comes in and penetrates the electromagnetic field and penetrates our energy fields, it challenges that which is stagnant information. It challenges belief systems. It challenges the emotional and mental records within the cellular molecular structure, that information. And so it's automatically rejected, denied, butted heads with, defensiveness. And so that, as we shed that is what plays out here. And, you know, 2 weeks ago, we just had the solar eclipse, and that was a total solar eclipse. And that eclipses from the soul that which is no longer needed: information, light. And the lunar, and that's from the mental body. The lunar eclipse, even though it was partial, eclipses from the emotional body that matched the information of the mental body that now was eclipsed from the soul, the soul aspect. And so that information is circulating, and now you have all of the information from the lunar eclipse that is severing that information that the solar eclipsed from the mental body. And so there is a lot of information being released, a lot of shadow energy, if you have to label it, dark energy, whatever you want to call it, density from the vessels. And a lot of that density energy is suppressed emotional energy. And one thing about both the solar and lunar eclipses is that the solar eclipse was in Libra, the lunar eclipse is dominated by Taurus, and they're both ruled by Venus. And Venus is the energy essence of love. And when you have lived in fear, false evidence appearing real, that also applies to the positive side of a duality nature, or what people would call the light world. They're both distorted because love is not an emotion nor a feeling. It just is. But to our civilization, regardless of where you are in the world, love has been attached to definitions of emotion and feelings. And, you know, it is what it is. But unfortunately, in many, many, many aspects, love is equated to an above and a below, in the sense of the above, and I'm talking of the human experience aspect. Love is equated to sex, money, and romance in the physical aspect. And in the unseen aspect of that sex, love, and romance, or sex, money, and romance, love is equated to safety, stability, survival, and security. And both of those together, sex, money, romance, safety, security, stability, all equate to survival. And that is fear in all the aspects of it. And so each one of those has a positive and a shadow to it, all 6 of those. And so that is what is really being straitjacketed, coming and being pushed up from deep within us, from the emotional and mental body, from this whole cellular molecular structure. It is pushing all of that up to the physical surface world, so it can be unveiled to us, so it can be revealed to us of all of this deep, ancient karmic imprinting, if you will, and of a repeated story for thousands and millions of years. But to the human, whether you're a human on an awakening of awareness journey, or somebody that you could consider still in slumber, either way, it's surfacing. And there is no individuality in that. There is only the individual personal interpretation of all of this stuff coming up. And so, because there is so many individual interpretations of energy flowing through us, and 99.9% of the time, even for those that have awareness, we automatically, oh, I feel a negative energy here. Oh, I feel a negative energy from that person. Oh, this stuff going on in my body is negative. And the only, because that's the dominant thought process in the lower linear realms. Time is radial, not linear, but we live with a definition that it's linear, point A to point B. And so, as interpretation, just like one of the ladies yesterday, I have a whole lot of energy. Wow, I just got a wave of energy. And it's just like, oh, and I said, well, feel into it. What is it? Oh, I think it's just a whole lot of grief and sadness. I said, is it really grief and sadness, or is it because you're not sure what the energy is? You're putting it into that category. And she stepped back and she's like, I said, just breathe into it and let it reveal what it is. And if it doesn't, that's okay. But don't try to put a description to it. Let it tell you what it is. And that is a hard space for any of us to train ourselves to be in, because it's a very intense self-discipline. It's not something that we can do 1 or 2 times, or every few days, or once a week, or it is an every breath, every moment awareness. And so, because there's so much different interpretation, one thing that you're really seeing explode out here is a whole lot of information. Everybody's understanding every vibratory frequency of versions of interpretation that people call truth. And it's overwhelming. And because as more and more expand the consciousness and shift the consciousness from being inside their belief system of it being inside the body to it being surrendering to understanding that the body is in a sphere of consciousness. Consciousness is not in the body. And that is the shift of consciousness that is taking place. And that is shocking to the psyche of this system that we call a body. And, for organs that to the soul don't exist, but only exist in the linear realms, you try to tell them they don't exist and they're going to tell you what the fuck, and on the flip side of that, this is saying, no, what the fuck back to you, so the battle, either way they're not used to each other. And they're being, when I say the straitjacket and I say I'm referring to the higher self, the soul, however you need to label it, and the linear human self, the lower self, the smaller self, whatever you want to call it. They're being forced as two little kids who don't know each other to sit in the room and get to know each other and stop fighting. And you're not coming out of the room until you can look into each other's eyes and see love there.
Oh, that's a good analogy. I like that, Linda. I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
The mind and the heart, these 12 inches, which is the only spiritual part of the journey you have to walk.
Yes.
You're ascending this part and you're descending this part to meet each other in the middle.
Yeah.
And that is not easy on the cellular molecular structure, let alone the nervous system that operates the circulatory system of the cellular molecular structure. And so the nervous system, that's the electrical charge. And if you get too much energy trying to go through and the other parts of the nervous system are rejecting it, you get stuck energy within the vessel. And on top of the stuck energy in that particular place. And so many of you out there got a lot of pain in the hips and the lower back. Even more of you are experiencing a whole lot of discomfort in your shoulder blades, in the left side of your bodies, especially your hip, your sciatica, your shoulder blades, and the top of your shoulder going up through in here. And that is directly tied into a meridian system. You're going from a grid system to a meridian system. And the meridian system up through here, it goes all the way down to your fingertips. But there is certain that are directly tied into the pericardium, which is your heart cavity, and also the gallbladder meridian, your liver meridian, because everything between your hips and your throat, more so really your chest, your heart chakra, all those organs and everything are everything that holds your emotions. And as light comes in, it has to expand, because your heart is what pulls in the light of your spiritual and etheric bodies. As light comes in, it expands. Therefore, and all DNA starts in bone marrow, your skeletal. So your chest cavity is having to expand as the heart expands. And so it's going right to your bliss portals, which are your wing portals, which are your shoulder blades. And so all of this is expanding from here down to your hips. Because as your energy centers, what is many call chakras, are merging into one beam of light, one meridian through the center, instead of being all over your body.
Right.
You know, instead of some being blocked, some being a little open, not open, you know, medium open. That's all coming into an alignment within for those that keep choosing to merge their spiritual and etheric bodies into their physical bodies to illuminate the body into a higher dimensional frequency. And so as that occurs, it sends out a different electrical charge because the electron now is fed with a higher frequency charge of light. So that sends the signal to the brain and the proton, which starts sending it through the nervous system information. And so there is a lot that is affecting from here down the left side of the body, because the left side of the body represents the past. From the neck down, the right side represents the present and masculine. The left side from the neck down represents the feminine and the past. And so a lot of all of this ancient information and karmic imprints that we have kept us in a repeated cycle is now surfacing. But the psyche cannot interpret it as being millions of years old or ancient information. It can only interpret it through the modern definitions of what it keeps, its beliefs. And so as all this comes up, as it's going to play out and however it needs to play out here. But as long as it's playing out here, it's representative of what has been let go of as a collective consciousness. And so there is a lot going on within the bodies right now. But at the same time, the energy coming in may not make the vessel feel very good, but it's a very harmonizing, positive energy.
And something you had said to me a long time ago is, and I hold on to that in these times, is not trying to come up with, figuring it out or finding out the answer to why this is happening, but just experiencing it and just accepting it and letting it happen and letting it flow, and not trying to create some sort of story about this ache or this pain or this, oh, this, like, just flow with it and accept
Yeah.
it, and it'll pass through.
Yeah.
It's
And
almost like the mind holds something to it, and then it's going to keep it longer because your mind's trying to.
You have to train your mind to work for you rather than work against you. And yes, saying positive affirmations and changing your thoughts is only a lower stair step of it. Your thoughts are dictated by what you hold, what you wall off your heart with. Your unworthiness, your anger, your this, your that, whatever, your grief, abandonment, whatever it may be, distrust. And so as you recognize those things and you release it, it changes how your mind thinks.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can train your mind to not panic, because when your mind is in control, it's always has a fear of stress or panic to it. And yes, the dominant thoughts are going to be negative because that's what you have focused on for so long.
Right.
That it's habitual, it's dominant. You have to change that dominance. Now, it doesn't mean you're never going to have a negative thought, but when you truly change the frequency of your thoughts, the brainwave that your mind operates from, and you train your mind to go silent, then this information is going to feed that to your brain, which is your mind is going to work for you. you know, one thing I encourage people to do is talk to your mind as if it's a person. Make time to sit there and have a conversation with yourself. It will respond and you will know the difference. You know, so many people say that the higher vibrational frequency, and it's not going to come at you in a negative way as far as, oh, you are unworthy, or, but it is going to address the negative perception and feeling. And one thing that is really, really important right now that people can do to help themselves is really observe where you forget that you're source. You know, observe how 5 seconds after you open your eyes every morning, you forget that you have a clean slate. You forget that you're brand new. You forget that you are holy and divine and source. And it's really necessary to take yourself back to that wholeness, and periodically throughout the day to remind you that there is no you. It is only source experiencing itself through a unique expression. Take the individual out of it, and then you can become a true unique individual, if you will. But you have to, again, you have to train your mind to hear and listen to this. And even when you train your mind, it doesn't mean your body trusts it. Because remember, what you think, what you say, and what you do have all been separated from it. Your body has what's been in the present, while your thoughts and your mind have been focused on stressing over the future and living from the past. And your words are a combination of both. That's why for those that can hear, they're going to hear themselves as they engage with people. But one thing we've been taught is just to be silent and not say anything, or to isolate ourselves and stay away from everybody. And that is a false security and safety mechanism, because we have adopted, well, nobody can upset me if I stay to myself. Unless you're triggered, you're never going to grow and expand, because you're never,
That's a very, to me, that's a very important message right now, because I think a lot of people right now, because they are physically going through so much, they want to retreat. But that, like you said, you must do the mirror work with humanity, with yourself, with other selves.
and
Otherwise,
people don't understand truly what it means to see the reflection. You know, I used to share with people when I would be live all the time, you know, line them up, line your mom and every friend you've ever had, sister, whatever, line them up. What is the similarities? Take your dad and every husband or boyfriend you've ever had. What are the similarities? And find as many, you know, and I'm not talking just 5 or 6 similarities. I'm talking really observe and find all of the similarities, good, bad, ugly, evil, and different as you can, because that is going to show you what you're repeating. And once you find all that, those similarities, then you start taking their faces off. Okay, all the males, this represents masculine energy. This is going to show me, now I'm going to put my face on these similarities, and I'm going to start looking for them in my behaviors and my words and my thought, you know, and how I'm doing it. That's the reflection. And that's how you're going to see the repeated programming, the conditioning program, the karmic program, however you need to look at it.
that's
Of
a
mommy
really
and
good way
daddy.
to, yeah,
That is what you have to neutralize. And some of that shit is so subtle, you can't see it ever. And that's why you have to have conversations. You have to have experiences with each other. But what happens is somebody tells you you're narcissistic or whatever, you're manipulative, you're controlling, you know, you're immature, whatever it is, we get defensive instead of welcoming in it, understanding that this person is a messenger. Oh, they're showing me what I can't see that I need to see so I can change it.
right. The blind spots.
Yeah, because I have asked spirit to show me what I need to heal, but then we reject it. And until we let the within and the without merge, without being offensive or defensive, without applying, and this is really important because this is coming up for the whole world right now, because the veil is disintegrating, because the magnetic poles have inverted and disintegrating. When I say that, I'm talking about the magnetic poles of the sun. People automatically take it about Earth and her pole shift. That has no part in the pole shift that is truly occurring with the sun. But again, information, people interpret it from bits and pieces. And so that magnetic pole is within us. We're inverting a magnetic pole of the sun within us.
Yeah.
So we can merge the two.
Yeah.
And course correct ourselves from within. And the within has to show to the without. We were just talking about shedding. You see out here dead animals, dead trees, 4 seasons, this, that, and the other. But this is a delayed reaction world. This is a world of the manifestation that already began within for any one of us that represent a whole. And as we bring light in and we release that which we no longer need, whether it's the mental body, the emotional body, a belief system, whatever it is, it's shedding dead cells. It's shedding skin. Your skin, you shed your skin every 18 days, dead skin cells, however you want to. And so that's what we're doing. And all of this out here that's playing out, people get caught up in all this information and they compare it to Bibles, and they compare it to this, and they compare it to cultures and creeds and all of this narrative. There's all these people that believe Planet X and Nibiru, and it doesn't even exist. But one thing humans really need to cognitively grasp: if you believe it exists, you have made it into an existence. Because of
you also talked about that snake skin, and that's important too, because that's the same idea.
And that's what's happening out here. As we shed information and wounding within us, our bodies shed all that dead information, the dead cells, shed all of it out of us. And as we shed it, it then starts playing out here in the physical, because we have to also shed it from within and now without. Because
so that's all the stuff that's going to be destroyed and changed and shifted. And that's what we're going to see.
We put all these narratives to it: annihilation, the end of the world, the pole shift, aliens dropping out of the sky, Project Blue Beam, conspiracy theories, and a currency reset. This is really important. If there's one thing that I can say on your show, Jill, this is what it is. I have more people all of a sudden coming back asking me about a currency reset. So I know that we're walking through a lower timeline of energy again, a repeat, a loop. But we've been saying that we're in a loop till the beginning of the year, a collective loop, and it lasts for up to 4 or 5, 6 years. Well, 5 years, won't go past 5, but. And in that, you have to understand that source, and remember, we're going back to source consciousness. Source, God, creator, spirit. Let's just take all those and say this: the universe does not know, does not comprehend. It does not exist. Money does not exist to the universe.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that's coming up for so many people.
because
I'm not,
because we're in a collective loop, and we've known
yeah,
this. We're coming out of that collective loop mid-November.
yep,
And so it is really, really helpful that the higher frequencies does not contain necessarily a thought process unless we bring it into it, of currency, of money.
right,
Anything, person, place, thing, experience, circumstance, anything in these realms is an emotionless resource. That includes money. Each individual gives life force energy or emotional meaning to a person, place, thing, experience, circumstance, including money.
right,
The universe works on an essence of abundance and prosperity. Neither one of those vibratory frequencies is associated in any way with currency or money. And so it's
it's true.
really, really helpful for all of you that are in those spaces and of collective narratives, or in collective narratives of any kind of survival template, worry, concern about the future, the past, the whatever. For those of you that are in collectives that have attached abundance and prosperity only to sex, money, romance, safety, security, stability, even if you think you're in a higher frequency of attracting abundance, really observe how limited your definition to abundance and prosperity is. And this is really, really important to become aware and recognize, because if that's what you're generating for your new world, you're generating it on limitation. Your
Yeah,
soul, creator, source that you are, does not limit any part of life force energy in any way. And if you truly want the higher frequency of prosperity, of the end to pain and suffering experiences emotionally and mentally, you have to challenge how you see things, you
exactly.
as an individual,
Yeah,
how you look at things. And if you are still in a space of hoping for a global reset, hoping for a currency reset, you are still trapped in collective vibrations. And maybe you should really consider looking at your definitions and really what you're seeking,
right,
because here will always provide for you. Here is going to guide you on what you need, what to do, the where, why, what, how, when.
right,
And
exactly.
learn patience and tolerance, and surrender to divine timing, that your soul knows better than you. And what is
Surrender,
yes, and what is playing out
surrender.
here, and you're gonna see that escalate as we get closer to the beginning of the year and even into 2024, is you are really going to watch the battle between opinions,
Mm. As if we didn't have
the
enough
battle,
already.
yep, the battle of interpretation, the battle of definition, the battle of labels. Why? Because more and more of us truly are coming to the cognitive understanding of what divine neutrality means. But to the human linear aspect, divine neutrality means you're cold hearted. It means that you're not compassionate because you're not emotionally engaged in something. And so all of that is what is going to play when you have 7.5 billion bodies that all have a different interpretation mechanism. Guess what you have?
It looks like a lot of chaos to me.
Yep. And so
That looks like
the
a
more
lot of
we
chaos.
release, the more we release of that as a mass,
Yes.
the more we see it out here. And yes, it's going to get rocky out here. We know that. We know that there is different parts of the world, of your families, of your communities, your countries, whatever you need to expand it to. We know that there is a lot of personal attachments to different narratives, to different belief systems, to different storylines. And because some of those narratives and storylines have affected larger groups of populations, whether they're singularly to their countries or all over the world, there's been a lot of attachment to those narratives, which have manifested it to automatically play out here. And that is where you're going to really see, as we get to mid-November and watch it play out going into 2024, what we call two worlds. And every bit is going to be tested as we shift consciousness from only being aware of 5 physical senses to being aware of its entire quantum field. Again, the flipping of a linear mentality from, oh, I'm just this body and I'm trapped in a body, to the cognitive understanding that the body is in a sphere of consciousness. That is not an easy flip to do. And it's terrifying to the human mind who has lived by mommy and daddy and grandparents and tradition and all these ancient stories that we have passed down. And you know, I'm not saying the heritage isn't important, but you don't need to carry that story. And as long as you're trying to carry traditions and ancient information and blah, 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 you're carrying the burden of the past with you. Therefore, you're not allowing yourself to be brand new. The skin suit may be Native American. The skin suit may be white. The skin suit may be African American. Blue, purple, black, red, yellow, white. You know, those are all labels that have limited us. And all of those definitions to each one of those skin suits is coming up for reevaluation. Do you really need your skin suit to define you? Do you really need this part of your routine character that has been stagnant to define you? Do you really need this expression of clothing to define you? How much have you put into this is the way I've always been? You know, that's why, you know, you go for a makeover, let's say, and you have a total body makeover. You see that stuff on shows and stuff, and they dress you in different clothing and they do your hair different and they put different makeup on you, and you are automatically like, wow, or ew, I don't like it. Because it's unknown to you and you're automatically going to resist the change. And that's what's happening right now, resistance, because the change is occurring in the shift of consciousness.
So it's a battle from within, and it's just being shown from without, outside.
Exactly. And the more
Yeah.
people see the battle without here, if they see it as the reflection of the battle within, or if the battle that they're slowly releasing, they're gonna, you know, if people can see the reflection as an individual and as a collective, instead of,
Yeah.
oh, that's your truth, not mine. Or, oh, that's, that's just their thing, it's not mine. When you understand truly we're all one,
Everything's everyone's.
everything is everyone's. And awareness really is coming into the understanding that, okay, wait a sec, before I make a decision here, I need to look at the effects, and I need to know, how is it going to affect my choice down the road, not only for the generations of our family, but how is it going to affect somebody in New York? Because if you have a thought of, oh God, I'm not gonna make it, God, that's going into the quantum field. You're not going to be the one to feel it.
The
The rest of the
butterfly
quantum
effect, right?
field is going to feel it. And there is a great responsibility in the higher frequencies. You do not allow yourself to create an imbalance unless it's necessary. And what that means is you stay divinely neutral, and you only give life force meaning to something you truly want. And that's your emotions. That's, I love him so much, or I love her so much, or, oh God, I can't let my baby go away to college. You have to really consciously become aware of what you're giving life force energy to. And you don't create the balance of light or dark, good or bad, or evil, positive or negative. You don't keep putting definitions and creating a duality, which automatically creates a karmic imprint for you of experiential manifestation, because you have to experience the opposite of what you created an imbalance to. And that's really what living in the higher frequencies means. It comes with a maturity of divine responsibility, not responsibility to anything out here, but within first and foremost.
Right.
And if you're in a struggle out here, if you're in an experience you don't like out here, if you're walking through anything out here, it's because, one, it's either showing you something that's still within. If it's triggering you or upsetting you or whatever, it's showing you a belief that goes against the truth of the soul or source. In other words, it's not balanced and neutral. And that's where we have failed as a human civilization, of not being accountable and responsible for what we're focusing life force energy on. And
They don't
this is,
teach that in school. They don't teach that in school, do they, Linda?
no, they'll start, because that's our intentions. The whole system, the whole world out here will shift. Heal your mind and you will heal your world. You don't have to do nothing out here. You have to change your mind, because that is the only thing that is shifting. Everything else will come into alignment unless you fight it. And if anything out here is an obstacle or whatever, it's because you're not in alignment. You're not walking divine neutrality and having this, okay, go around this way, do this, jump over, go under, whatever. You're not allowing water to flow, if you will. Water will flow around any obstacle, But humans, they like to beat the fuck out of the obstacles. They like to get caught up in the obstacles. They like to whine about the obstacles. They take the hard way. They take the easy way because they think it's too hard. Or you can flip those words and you say they take the hard way because they want the easy way. They just want the boulder out of the way, the obstacle out of the way. I don't want to have to go around it. That means I have to travel an extra mile. I can't jump over it. God, can't you just take it out of the way? Not understanding that their thoughts generated the obstacle. And it
Yeah,
will.
that's something that I've had conversations multiple times with people, and it's one that people have a hard time really stepping into that responsibility mode of I created this. It's not happening to me, it's happening for me, but I created it. And that's a concept that's, a lot of people just don't, they still want to, like you said, the narratives. They want to blame
Yeah.
all the stories for what's happening to them instead of going within and doing that work.
And that you're really going to see escalate, because you have to understand the conditioning we've been under, the taught interpretations and definitions, language barriers from countries, whatever it may be. The inverted matrix is the game of blame and the walk of shame.
It is.
And every bit of your mentality and your mindset and your beliefs will be challenged in an awareness journey, because every bit of our mentality is associated with blame outside and shame within. Therefore, because you blame something out here, you abandon the fact that you're source within. Therefore, your body walks game of blame. You walk in shame in the physical world. It is a trinity of information. And so you have to catch every bit of how your mind will shame, go into judgment, go into self-condemnation, all of those things within, and watch how your human mind blames a noun out here: person, place, thing, experience, circumstance. And again, why I say find the similarities in anything. We have been taught that this world is evil. You cannot trust it. You cannot nothing. This is God's world. Evil does not exist in this world. Fear, let me cancel that. Let me back up a minute. Fear does not exist in this outside world. Fear is strictly a mental thought process only. Evil does not exist in this world until the human brings those thoughts into manifestation. That is where we have gone wrong and corrupted our world. Now, people talk about corrupted governments, corrupted systems, corrupted this,
right? Yeah.
all of that. Well, look how corrupted our minds have been our whole lives. Look how self-condemnation they have been, judging, shameful, blaming this, that, the other for how we feel. If our consciousness we allowed to be corrupted into unworthiness, abandonment, rejection, blah, 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 then so too will our system out here become corrupted and poisonous, because you have corrupted and poisoned this system by your mind, not by food, not by eating meat or not being vegan or vegetarian or this or that or anything else. Strictly from information that we hold within, and we allow ourselves to attach to it instead of, again, it's the pretenses. Every bit of anything that plays out here, Jill, is a direct result of a free will choice to forget by conscious choice, to pretend that you do not have a holy divine spark of God, creator source within you 5 seconds after you wake up. 5 seconds after anybody opens their eyes and actually gets out of bed and moves, usually before they get out of bed. Oh God, I need to go to the bathroom. In that second, you have forgotten that you are holy and divine, not because you have to go to the bathroom, but because you made it a burden.
Yeah.
Oh God, I gotta go to the bathroom. Oh God, it's cold. Oh God, it's 5 o'clock. Do I have to get up? And that's a free will conscious choice that we do. You know, you have a brand new world, a brand new day, a brand new beginning every day we wake up. And if it's not 5 seconds, it's 5 minutes. But within the first half hour, oh God, got to get ready for work, got to this, got to that. And we forget our divine consciousness. Unless you have a self-discipline of consciously being absolutely present in this now. No, I don't have to bring yesterday's story into today. I'm going to look at it as with new eyes. If I am source, how did I create this? Okay. And see it through a higher consciousness.
And realizing every single moment of every single day that everything is your choice, responsibility of your choice,
But also that everything is God.
that everything is God working through you,
Yeah.
with you.
Again,
Yeah.
we veil ourselves into pretense. Oh, I'm just Jill. Yeah, I have a kid. Yeah, I have a job. Yeah, I have to do this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we forget to pause and say, oh, wait a sec. Yeah, the milkman pissed me off, but why am I pissed off at source? I asked these guys last week. I said, how often during the day you guys are out here feeding the animals or working on your projects or at the restaurant or whatever, do you actually see source? Or
Gotta
do
see
you
it in
see a
everything. You're
title
right.
or a label or a definition or this, that, or
Right.
the other?
Right.
How
It's not
often
just
do you hear the interaction with the customers or each other as source talking to you? Or is it just Mariana or Linda or John Paul or Jill or whatever?
right, right, right.
And that
And it
is
doesn't
really,
have to be, it's not just the synchronicity in the numbers. It's not like, oh, just because I saw 111, that's the story. Like everything. It's everything.
but really, are you truly, have you really surrendered you and truly embodied your knowing that you're a light being of source, your source, whatever you need to, do you really see? Or do you just see somebody, oh, that's just them on their journey? Do you really see the
Yeah,
information of what
yeah,
you're witnessing?
yeah,
All of the information of the whole spectrum of light from the lowest density to the highest? Are you really seeing God's world? Or are you seeing something that you dislike or something that you
right.
have labeled and
No,
judged
yeah,
as lower vibes or dark or this or
right,
that?
right. It's true. You have to. You're right. It's true.
And that is the self-discipline that
Yeah,
is truly
needed.
necessary right
Yeah.
now, because your
Yeah.
mind is getting faster and faster and faster and faster, filled with information. And if
And so,
you,
and what you judge is what you're going to get looped in, and then it's just going to keep spiraling you.
even the resonation and discernment, yes, in one aspect, I totally get what people are saying.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get yourself to divine neutrality, you don't need resonation or discernment, because this is going to guide you, because this is going to
Yeah.
tell you
Yeah.
everything is God and everything is light out here. You're the only one that separates it into density, dimensions, frequencies,
Yeah.
narrative stories of good and evil. And you can
Right.
rise above any vibratory frequency experience out here, regardless as Israel and Hamas is going on. You can rise your vibratory brainwave frequency to the point that, yes, you're a witness, but you have no personal opinion to it whatsoever. You're neutral to anything. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be guided to participate. If you see an old lady fall down on an icy street, you don't just leave her there. Oh, that's just source experiencing. I mean, you have to learn,
Yeah.
but you don't go help her unless you're, okay, show me what I need to do. Because if you just, oh, I got to go help that woman, you're going to run out and you're going to get hit by a bus, because you haven't taken the whole information into consideration. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
probably a bad example.
That was cute, Linda. You're probably getting tired because we've been talking for a long time, friend.
I
No, but it's true though, like you said about because I remember you were talking with Alexander not too long ago, and you guys were talking about the whole like discernment and resonance, and I see where people are at with that, but there is a place beyond that, which is like you said, the divine neutrality, where you don't shun it, you embrace it with compassion. And when you embrace it with compassion, it doesn't it does not going to affect you at all.
no, and it's not to say that those that are still in those phases, stair steps are wrong.
No, no.
Remember, we're
Yeah.
just sharing information.
Right.
And information is coming from here, 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 from here. And as long as you keep yourself open to it being just information instead of judging it one way or the other, it is going to benefit you, because it's of the whole. It doesn't matter if it's coming from you, from me, from the dog, from a tree. It's
And
all
that's
in our
what everybody loves about you, Linda. You just give all the information and people just take whatever they need.
For me, it's not personal.
Hmm.
Speak through me. I don't need to speak.
And you
let
don't
our
claim to be anything from anywhere. You're just
The
information.
only thing I claim to be is I am that I am, and who I am.
But
And
yeah,
who I am is exactly who you are. We're a soul.
yeah.
We're a
Different things of the same
consciousness
thing.
of a wholeness, and that is called Christosophia. And you are no different than me, and except that you choose to play a character role and have a cult of personality. Every single one of us do. And when we can release the character, we can release the personality, we can release the individualization, and have a congruency of all of us having that consciousness, then there is no judgment on how it is experienced. And
Yeah,
you
I think
get to a
that's that's
place,
the that's the golden ticket right there.
yeah, and then you can see all frequencies of information. And okay, well, you're walking through this vibratory frequency of information. It's not personal for me. It's not a judgment. It just, okay, I know that frequency. I've already walked through it. Okay, this is where you're at. And of course, people are like, well, you're judging me. Well, no, it's just information. There is no opinion out here that matters, not even our own. And the hardest, and I'm going to say it's the hardest thing for anyone to cognitively truly grasp, is the fact that This is not personal. And you do not matter. Because that hits the human, then why am I alive? Then what's my purpose here? Then you're saying that I'm insignificant. No, that's not what I'm saying. I am saying is our individual interpretation and perception does not matter. Perception is built upon assumptions, jump to conclusions, and opinions and distortion. When we can cognitively realize, and this is what I was going to say, when you can really grasp that you have been playing God instead of being God, being source, who you are here, your source, that's not your human heart, that is truly that you are light, a light being of source, of the divine. That does not have a personality or a character and does not play a role that requires a mask. And there is a difference than being source, because you live by that. And that's just not from words. You literally live by this telling you what to do, guiding you through this information, this intelligence. Then you stop playing God, trying to save the world, trying to awaken people, playing the demon devil's advocate, interfering with people's free will, doing readings, trying to heal them, blah, 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 blah. Because you understand that this is God's world, and this is going to play out regardless of your opinion. This is going to play out regardless of your individual intention, because this is the whole playing out. And this takes every bit of the lowest density to the highest frequency density into consideration. It does not man it to your preferences or dislikes. And when we stop playing God out here and let God have God's world and let it unfold how it needs to, then you embody a higher knowing that you are source, and you control and discipline your vessel, your mind, to not fall into those unhealthy patterns, because you're source. And you're letting source experience through this vehicle. And this system is the matrix. This system is miraculous. But we have been taught to cheat the system, blame the system, bitch about the system, corrupt the system, instead of this is the system and I can keep it pure, not by eating vegetables. You keep it pure by keeping your consciousness brand new in every moment. You keep it innocent by keeping your body in alignment every moment, that it's brand new in every second, instead of consciously pretending that you are not source, that you're just Jill, that you're just a human, that you're just this, that you're just Linda, you're just Tom, Dick, and Harry, that you're Native American, that you're Black, that you're white, that you're ancient, that you're angelic, that you're galactic. When you take yourself back to innocence, there is no you. Therefore, nothing is personal. And therefore, you're going to eat that piece of meat knowing that you're eating light, and you're feeding light to Jill, and you're feeding light to every other part of source. So you want to get mad at the wall because it got in your way and you stubbed your toe. Go ahead, cuss God, but understand the only one you're cussing is yourself. because you forgot in that moment that you're source. We play stupid that I did not pretend and put on a mask that I'm not source. It was Jill who did that. It's her fault. Nah, honey, you cognitively did it when you woke up 5 seconds after you opened your eyes and cognitively pretended that you were not in a new day, in a new moment, and that you were not holy, divine, and source. No, you decided you were going to play stupid and, oh God, I got to go to work. If only I had all the money in the world, I wouldn't have to work. No, you put that mask of pretense on, forgetting that you generate everything. And that's the hard part, is becoming aware of that we did choose.
Always choices. Choice,
We
choice, choice,
choose
choice, choice. Everyday choice.
over and over and over throughout the day to forget that we are beings of light, that we are love. Instead, we try to achieve it. We try to awaken to it. We try to journey to it. When you don't have to go anywhere, you just have to, oh shit, I just put on a pretense mask and forgot that I'm holy and divine, that I'm source. I did what I want. I did what I wanted to do. I didn't pay attention. Oh shit, now I'm gonna suffer. And that's how you stop pain and suffering, is stop pretending that you didn't cognitively choose to put a mask on and forget that you were source. And we do it all day long.
It's a process. Just gotta move through the process and keep
But is it
waking
a
up.
process, or is it very simple?
Well, it's simple. It's simple once you have it, but until you have it, Linda, it's a process.
Yeah. And to recognize every bit of where you're cognitively, which is completely subconscious, where you're consciously and cognitively truly choosing yourself to pretend. But it is so habitual to get up in the morning and get hubby's lunch ready, packed, and the kids ready for school, and prepare me. You got to curl my hair, take a shower, do laundry, or scrub this. It is so easy to
Monotony.
forget
Yep.
that it is so easy to keep you consciously aware of, oh, I'm source. So my human has created all of this chaos at playing God just because I chose to forget that I'm holy and divine and today's a brand new day. Damn it. You know what I'm saying? And that's where everyone needs to be at right now, is really looking at how quick and how easy throughout your day that you forget that you're holy and divine and you are source, and there is nothing wrong. You just have to catch programming. You just have to catch routine and repetition of where you're not allowing yourself to truly be brand new in every moment, every day. Yes, you have a house to take care of. Yes, we have a restaurant and a ranch and animals to be fed, but you don't have to perceive it the same way every single day. When you wake up brand new in a different frequency than you were when you went to bed, you can see it through a different angle of the diamond of wholeness.
And I think helping in creating that idea for people and that understanding for people is gonna be assist them in the future days and months. I know a lot of people they always seem to want, even from the people that I speak with on a daily basis, is they want some sort of definitive quick way out. They want a quick fix to the pain they feel, the sadness that comes and burdens them, the emotional things that come through from the energy and the changes that are going on. And it's like the I'm interested in what you would say to this, but I just let it flow through. Like, don't resist it, don't stop it, just feel it and let it go through.
Don't put a story to it. Let it reveal the story to you.
Yeah.
The thing is people don't want to feel. That's the one thing we have been taught to suppress and just move on. And it's the emotional body that is being purified right now. The emotional body is where you have all your cords and attachments to people, places, things, experiences, circumstances. And as long as there is an emotional attachment that is not healed or let go of or released, then there is attachment to the physical manifestation rather than to clearing and healing the karmic imbalance that you created or the echoed imbalance. And the only way out is in. The trigger, the emotion, the anger are only labels that society has taught you or your mind has categorized. And that is the doorway. The physical experience is your soul bringing this person, this experience to trigger you, so you will get triggered, so you can go through the doorway and
So
release
don't
it
shut the
and
door,
heal
walk
it.
through the door.
But so often they slam the door because they react to their husband or their boyfriend or their kids or their boss or whatever, or somebody on Facebook arguing with them because they see it differently. And by doing so, they close the door that the soul has opened by that sadness, by that feeling of anger or grief or abandonment or rejection. And if you go into it, you will get past the mind labeling it grief, the mind saying it's anger. That is the veil that you have to walk through in the trigger to get to the emotional body. And that is going to reveal the veil that you put over your soul light. And there's no easy fix for that, because your human makes it challenging. Your human makes it the walk of death. Oh God, I don't want to feel the anger. I just want to be happy, not understanding you're not growing your light to be happy until you walk through that emotional body and purify it and
Yeah,
release those attachments.
and I feel like if you don't look at it, besides the distracting methods that people use, they also project it. And see, that's not helping you either. Like, just because you feel something and then you give it to someone else, that's not you fixing it or feeling it
So
or
if you're
walking through it.
projecting,
That's
it's
just you
because you closed the
projecting.
door. If you project it, it's because you've closed the door and you made it about the physical.
Right.
And
I see it all the time.
yep,
I
yep,
see it all the time with people. They're feeling something, they're going through something. Instead of stopping and taking the time to look at it and feel through it and realize where it came from, they just want to get rid of it. So it's like hot potato. They're just throwing it to
yep.
each person instead of actually,
That or
figuring
suppressing
out
it
what
and
it is.
bypassing. That or suppress it and bypass it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're
And
never going to get down to the truth.
the majority only wants understanding. They get clarity, they think they've healed it and they've neutralized it and they've cleared it. Well, I have forgiven my mom and dad, Linda. Well, maybe mentally you have, emotionally you haven't. Look at you, you still have tears over those memories. And as long as you have a memory that you have emotion attached to, you have not healed from it, and you do not gain wisdom until you can go to a memory and not have an emotional or mental reaction to it. It's just a memory.
Yeah. No trigger.
Yeah. And that's where true forgiveness comes in. People's like, oh, I have forgiven him. But have you really? because you're still experiencing the same type of relationships over and over. You're still seeking something. So have you really truly forgiven here? And forgiveness isn't a word.
No.
Forgiveness is a neutralization of an impression and imprint you put in your spiritual and etheric body because you created an imbalance. You were saying source is only light, source is only dark, source is only this, source is only that, whatever. And source is unknowable. And why you have to surrender to this intelligence, because the Alpha and Omega, the holy mother and father, mother is ineffable and father is unknowable. And because light is constantly expanding with every thought, every intention, any life force energy put to anything, you will never know source because it's always expanding. You can only know source here. Surrender to source and let source guide you, because source is always expanding.
And that's something so hard to, like, if people haven't ever felt that or haven't had a connection with that, it's such a hard thing to, like, I try sometimes to express that with words to people, and it's so hard for them to grasp what it means. It's like I have a
Because they're at
communication
a
with
frequency
the
that won't
universe.
let them.
And what?
They're at a frequency that can't take in that information.
Yeah.
You're never going to be able to explain it to them, Jill, to where they can cognitively grasp it. You can only plant a seed of source.
Yeah.
And when they get to that stair step, they're gonna, that's what Jill meant 3 years ago. Shit. And then they're
Yeah.
gonna go through that space of beating themselves up. How come I couldn't get it? Because their soul wasn't there to get it.
Yeah. Not yet. Not ready. Everyone has their time. Everyone's on their own journey. That's another thing too that I feel that we should touch upon, and then we gotta get off because, man, me and you've been talking for hours, hours and hours and hours, even before we start recording. But anywho, I think we should touch upon the idea and the concept of we are all on our own path. We all are on our own in the sense of evolution, like of humanity, aren't we? I mean, on some levels.
No.
Okay, so maybe I'm not framing that correct.
How can you have your own journey and your own path and your own this and your own that if you're just source and source is whole and not fractured?
Well, we're reflecting from different places. I guess that would be a way to
Source
say it.
is closing the mirror that it's separated, which
Okay,
means your journey is source's journey.
right.
My journey is source's journey, which means there's no my and there's no yours, which means there is no everybody. See, that's the illusion. That's the delusion, especially New Age spirituality has taught people. We're all on our own journeys. How? If you're
It's
all
the
source,
wording.
it's
It's the
just
wording.
source's journey.
You're right. It's the
It
source's
is
journey.
source is on a journey. Source, there's only one path to the light, source's path. And that's
Right.
where we're coming to, is that there is no you. Because you or me or they or them or this or that represents to a separation. That you, that is in a body, and the body is in consciousness. So there is only source consciousness. The interpretation is where we delude ourselves that Linda's on her journey and Jill's on hers and Tom, Dick, and Harry
No,
on theirs.
I guess what I'm trying to say, and I'm not finding the words so good or
You
so
said it
easily.
exactly right, honey, because that's the delusion we all are. No, we're all sources, just in different waves catching up with itself.
Okay, so yeah, so the different waves. It's just as people as humans are walking through, we have to be more compassionate with each other and more
because
kind
we're
to each other.
just source. So I say we're coming into a singularity, a merging, as Jason Estes says, a convergence, and that's accurate. The straight
Yes.
has been being pulled for a while now, and that is, as much as this world dictates we're individuals, the more we can.
And language is so important. I'm so glad that you corrected me, because that language is so indoctrinated in my system. I have,
All of ours.
it's so tricky.
Mhm. Yeah. But as long as you can train yourself, no, this is Source's journey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guide me, Source. You know more than I do. This is your journey, and I've tried to make it into my journey, my truth, my perception, my perspective. That's
Yeah,
what you
because the
say
word, that's what it's saying.
when you truly surrender, it's not personal anymore. It's not about your journey, your truth, this, that, and the other. It is Source hand in hand with Source.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see gender, you don't see skin color, you stay in divine neutrality. Now, not everybody is can get there or even gonna be there. That's the beauty of going back to being Source, because you cognitively can grasp and change your reality to understand there is no light or dark. There is only waves of light, always waving at itself.
Like yeah, the toroidal field, the in and out, the figure eight, the inside outside. Yeah.
And when you can merge yourself to be in consciousness, you don't identify yourself as the body. You know, people sit there and say, oh, you got mental problems. You disassociate, Linda, that you're your body. And it's like, no, I don't disassociate. I understand I have a vehicle, a body. I get that. But that body does not dictate and define who I am. I said, that body is not who I am. I am consciousness. My body may be named Linda, but I understand I'm consciousness. So, you know, just because I don't make my body personal doesn't mean anything. You're very much attached that this is who you are. I understand this is a miraculous system. You know, your system is being controlled. Mine is being by something else. Mine's being controlled by me. You know, I'm going to keep my system oiled. I'm going to keep my system updated. I'm going to keep my system expanding. I can't do that if I just say I'm Jill. And I'm Jill on my own journey. Well, you just claimed that you're Jill. You didn't claim that you're Source. You claim that you're self-worshiping and self-idolizing yourself because it's your journey.
Right.
No, I'm sorry. You know, Source doesn't idolize and worship itself.
That's just another box to,
It's just another
yeah,
box.
it's just another box. And
My
the
truth
words
and
are
your
so
truth.
important.
No, that's
Yeah.
just another box you because you're idolizing and worshiping yourself. Well, my truth and your truth, no. Source don't go by the polarity.
Mm-hmm.
There's just Source and you're providing information. It's not personal. You know, I don't
Right.
have my feelers into it. I'm not putting my opinion into it. It just is what it is. The second you make it personal is the second you start self-worshiping and idolship and playing savior, hero, savior, victim, villain, because you've created an imbalance. You're playing God instead of being God. You've made it all about you. You didn't make it about God, source, creator, whatever. Yeah, no. There's only source.
There's only source, everyone. So don't be careful what you say.
That's
It's
like these
true.
guys here,
She's
you know,
right.
I give these guys a hard time. I'll sit
No, it's
there and say,
true.
thank
It's
you,
so
source.
true.
You know, they'll get into their little personality, do blah blah blah, and I want it my way. And it's like, how you doing, source? And then it snaps them back. Oh, I'm great. Okay, source. Thank you for the message, source. You know, and I call them source so they cognitively and consciously can hear their conscious mind at the same time as they embody that. Oh yeah, okay, I'm acting from my immature human self. I am source. You know.
It's a great reminder. We need to have Linda's every day. Hi, source.
I wake. Well, you know, Linda has her moments. You know, every morning. Good morning, Grand Rising, source. You know, they go around. Grand Rising, Vincent. Grand Rising, Elvira. Grand Rising. It's like Grand Rising, source. You know,
Oh,
let's
boy.
grace for dinner. We grace you, source. Hey, source, what do you want for dinner? You know, and so, you know, just different things that will help each other moment by moment. Remember, no, you're brand new in this moment, your source. If you're frustrated, pause. Okay, source, why are you frustrated? Oh, I'm source, I'm not frustrated. Okay, what was your mind trying to rope you into? Yeah.
It's going to be so needed coming up, and it's going to continue to be
Communication.
needed. Hmm?
The biggest lesson, initiation, testing, however you need to label it, that's going on for anyone in humanity right now is how well do you communicate? Communication from here to here to here, communication from here to here, communication. Because the one thing that we have been taught is to not communicate, miscommunicate, distort communication, and suppress communication and isolate communication.
Wow.
Because we have been taught spelling, we have been taught opinions and assumptions and jump to conclusions are truth. And so we have been taught to scream or to give the silent treatment. You know, we've never really been taught a healthy way to communicate feelings, to communicate discomfort, to communicate fear. And so all of humanity on an individual, a collective, and a mass whole are learning as we shift consciousness a whole different way of communication. And you know, if there is the ultimate love story, it is there. Because we have been taught for thousands and millions of years to be and live playing God as the written word rather than the living word.
Yeah.
And when you understand that you're the living word, then you don't need to write a book. You don't need to write nothing. You start living again. You
Living
start
the
moving,
word.
taking action and living again rather than isolate and become stagnant. The second you become comfortable and familiar and routine and repetition, you become stagnant because your life force energy doesn't do anything different. It just keeps regurgitating what you're comfortable and familiar and used to. You're set in ways, blah, blah, blah. And that's the second you start dying.
Yeah.
That's the second you start getting old. That's the second you become crippled, because you are stagnating the same life, your life force energy into a routine, into a sameness, into repetition. You know, my grandmother didn't, she was married to my grandfather for 75 years. It was 30 years before she ever moved her couch. It's like, Grandma, when's the last time you moved that? Oh, it's been about 30 years. I move it to sweep behind it, but I've never put it anywhere else in the living room. It just fits here. We get used to, how often do people change their bedrooms around or their living rooms, move their furniture besides just to clean? We get used to things a certain way.
You're
We
right.
like things, we have preferences, likes, dislikes, all things that keep us in a repetition of stagnant energy. And therefore our communication remains stuck and stagnant in the same thing.
That's a good one. That's a good message right there. That's a good reminder for everyone.
So as we truly shift consciousness in leaps and bounds going forward, even more so than we have, everything that is stagnant within, whether that's cellular memory, circulatory information, whether that's memories, whether that's likes, dislikes, beliefs, anything that is still limiting the expansion of consciousness, it is being pushed by light.
That whole thing about stagnation is a really, really key thing for humanity.
Well, how many
Really key.
people sit there and say, well, I don't like sour cream, or I don't like green peppers, or I've never liked squash since I was a little kid. I'm sorry, you're not a little kid anymore. Your taste buds have changed a million times since then, and you're still saying you don't like it? You know what I mean? And those are
I,
the stagnant things, thought processes.
I usually, what I've said in the past is I like to be flexible. And I feel like I am always, if I don't like something, I want to investigate why I don't like something. And then I push myself into it to investigate it. Like if I have something that I have an aversion to. And I think that whole idea of being flexible is going to be really powerful going forward.
Have you ever been angry?
Yep.
Okay. Why? No, think about this. So one of these guys was frustrated. I don't know, it was 3 weeks ago, 2, 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so we sat out here, and I did it in my private group on as well on Facebook. You know, why are you angry? Why are you sad? Why are you happy? So I sat there and I asked him, I said, why are you frustrated? I said, now before you answer me, I want you to not put it towards a person, place, thing, experience, or circumstances. And I would like you to tell me what you're frustrated and angry about. So they'd start telling, nope, you're talking about a person. They didn't make you angry. Your anger's inside of you. What made you angry? Oh, well, it's because I broke the thing on the blah, blah, blah. Okay, nope, that's the thing. And so we walked through their mind and all of its crutches and its excuses. And we finally got to the only thing that they could come up with that made them either happy, sad, angry, frustrated, joyful, whatever. I said, so you figure out what made you angry? Yes. It had such a bitter taste to it when they said it, yes. It's like, what was it? A thought? I said, bingo. There is no emotion that we have that a thought has not generated. It's called artificial emotions, artificial tears. People have problems with their tear ducts. That's because they've suppressed all their energies the emotional energy they've been taught, they haven't allowed themselves to cry, and so it's dried up.
Oh, wow.
I mean, so when you really look at how we interpret all this energy coming through, or meeting new energy, that, oh God, they're dark, or that's heavy or negative or
Mhm.
whatever. When you really, really start challenging, well, I feel sad. I feel like a heavy grieving energy within me. It's like, okay, now what would that feel like had you not put that thought to it? It's like you have, and when you look at, truly, when you look at, the only reason you're angry is because of a thought. The only reason you're sad is because of thought. The only reason you're happy is because of a thought. You will realize just how much you have numbed yourself down to sensory feeling.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Linda. That's a good point.
And that's what you want, is sensory feeling that does the whole sphere in all directions of source.
Yeah, not
And
just
then you
here.
don't have to heal people. You don't have to read people. You don't have to tune into people, because you're here and here, and it's merged into one. And this will tell you anything
Just
you
like
need to,
instantaneous information.
because you've allowed yourself to surrender knowing something. You have
And
surrendered to the not
that's a
knowing.
key word that you just said, knowing something.
You have taken yourself back to source is the authority,
And
and
that's
there
knowing.
is no you, there's no me, there is source. You're all knowing, aware of all, and source is the knowing that knows everything. So you are nothing in allness, and yet, and in that allness, there is no you, there's only pure source, which is,
Which is
and there's nothing after that is.
is.
Love is, source is, light is, and that is the only absolute there is. And in that space, you have harmony. And that's where we're shifting to. As within, so without.
Well, Miss Linda, I think we gotta finally end this podcast, even though I don't want to.
Now
I
we'll
gotta
do it
run.
again in another week or so.
Yeah, let's do it again soon. Seriously, you let me know when you're ready, and I will be ready. I'll make myself ready. So I appreciate your time, and I'm gonna do my best to upload this tonight, but it might have to be tomorrow. It's getting kind of
Well,
late.
I love
So,
spending time with you. Beautiful.
oh, I love spending time with you, and I appreciate so much your wisdom, your kindness, your directness, your sharpness at times. Believe you me, I like it. I appreciate
Oh,
it. I value it, and my heart is open to it. So thank you for always giving it to us,
well,
giving it
thank
to us
you,
real.
Source, for blessing us.
Yes. Yes.
Have a
Yes.
magical, magical night. And just know, things are going to escalate, and it's okay,
It's
because we
okay.
want it to. As long as it's out here, then you know that we're really releasing it from here and no longer need it. So don't get
Yep.
caught up in out here.
Yes. Yes.
Have a
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful weekend as we go into November and truly start the dance at a much higher tempo.
We will be talking in 2 or 3 weeks, Linda, okay?
We will. Talk soon,
Okay. Love you,
beautiful.
friend.
I love you
Bye.
too, beautiful. Bye bye.